Hello and welcome back. Today we're going to be doing a minor upgrade to the truncator and removing the two SSDs that are currently in there and putting those into the server. Now this is probably going to be a two-part video, but maybe not really. I'm not really sure what the direction is going to be, but ultimately we're going to try and improve the performance of some virtual machines on one of my servers. And that's why I ordered this. So inside of here, we should have a new SSD of some caliber. Probably should have opened this before I actually started recording, so it would be a little faster. But nonetheless, this thing has finally arrived. This is a Samsung 960 EVO Pro, and this is an NVMe SSD. This will be going in the truncator. It's only 512 gigabytes, which isn't quite that spectacular. However, since I have a server that has tons of storage space, my Steam repository already exists, so any games that I may need to download are already there, so I can just transfer them to the truncator when I need them, and away from the truncator if I don't. So without any further delay, let's go ahead and get this thing installed. Now, as you may or may not recall, the truncator actually lives on my server rack, so we're going to have to remove this, get that M.2 drive installed, and swap over the operating system from the RAID 0 SSDs that I have onto that, and we should be good to go in theory. So let's go ahead and get this thing unmounted from the rack, I suppose, and get this transfer going. So luckily for this, we don't really need too many tools. We simply just have to remove the side panel case, remove the graphics card that's in there so we can have access to the motherboard beneath. Now, in case you're wondering, it's been a while since I've actually talked about the truncator, but it is in fact a EVGA Micro 2 motherboard. So this should work. I haven't actually tried it or did any research online to see if it does, but I do know that the previous generation, the 950, actually does work. So the 960 is supposed to be pretty BA, and there's a lot of benchmarks online available for the 960 Pro, so I'm not going to be doing any actual benchmarks, and you can see all that online at your own will. However, I'm expecting to have some pretty good performance gains over my RAID 0, but that will remain to be determined until I can actually get some real-world tests going. Alright, so let's get this beastie installed. Remove all this stuff that I don't need. Set that aside for now. So like every build that you've ever seen online already, always start with the removal of the side panel case. Now this is a little bit interesting because the SSDs I do have are on the rear. But we'll get to that a little bit later when we actually get there. For now, we actually just need to remove this, and we should be good to go. I always forget where the little latch is. And there we go. Now, as you can probably see here, the M.2 drive actually will fit into this slot. This is a key M, which is pretty important to know when you're buying SSDs. M.2 SSDs, that is. So we're going to go ahead and get this in there and see if it fits. I'm really surprised at the lack of dust in the system, considering I haven't cracked it open for quite some time. So what I just did there, remove the screw that's there. This should slide in like this, and it looks like the notches line up. And that just slid right in. Take my screw and screw it back down. And that is installation of an M.2 drive pretty much in a nutshell. And we don't have to get it down very tight, obviously. These things are fragile from looks of it. It actually looks like it came out a little bit, so I'm going to loosen this a bit. There we go. Make sure that's in there nice and snug. And it is. Tighten down a little bit more. And that's good to go. Alright, so let's get this thing plugged back in, powered up, and see if we can go ahead and boot into Windows so we can start our transfer. So I almost forgot. So you clearly can tell that the M.2 drive is right beneath where the graphics card will sit, and that may be a cause for concern for heat, but I think this case has got pretty good airflow. So I just wanted to show you where the graphics card will actually go over that. And if I can get it in, that's what she said. It goes like so. So the M.2 drive is quite literally covered up completely by this graphics card. Now, I just want to do a really quick test just to see how fast a RAID 0 storage array is when transferring data to the NVMe SSD. So we're gonna choose Grand Theft Auto. Where is that? Grand Theft Auto 5. I'm gonna copy this over and paste it onto the NVMe SSD. And we're getting, wow, we're almost a full gigabyte of bandwidth there. It's actually a little bit slower than I expected, but I gotta say, if I had speeds like this all of the time, I don't know what I would do. This is absolutely incredible. I can't wait to get these SSDs onto the server. Alright, the last thing to do on the list is just take out the old SSDs. I guess they're really not old, but take them out anyway. So don't mind the cable management back here. Obviously, because you can't see into the back side of this case, cable management really doesn't matter. But I will be removing these Intel 730 SSDs and putting these into my server to run virtual machines off of, as well as, I guess, just doing transfers of data. I haven't really decided yet, but we'll get there in the next video. So that's something to look forward to. These things have served me pretty well. I'm kind of actually sad to take them out of here because when I first built the truncator a couple of years ago, this was the most exciting thing, or one of the most exciting things, that I was actually putting inside of it. Well, that pretty much sums up this video. I've got my SSDs removed. I just got to do some cable management and then put everything back together, mount it back on the server rack, and I'm done. So, I wanted to thank y'all all for watching, and I'll see you next time.